Nuh-uh.
The fuck you mean, nah?
Welcome to Sith Happens Star Wars Podcast. I'm Eric the Dadalorian. Thank you guys for joining us today for a very special live Instagram live episode, as well as our regular podcast streaming service. I am joined by my two bestest of friends, Ant and Matty Ice, also known as I Am Not a Committee and Black Series Daily Desk on Instagram. How we doing, fellas?
Hello there. Yep, ready to talk about what an episode.
Oh, yes.
Close out.
We are here for the finale breakdown of Skeleton Crew, and let me just say, guys, I have not been this pleased with a season in a long time. But before we get way too deep into that, I'm gonna stop myself. This is gonna be your guys' spoiler warning, because we're about to get into a lot of good stuff here. Yes, all the spoilers.
That's for Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh, this is perfect, yeah.
But like I said earlier, like I was saying, we are doing this live, so if you guys want to, please call out some comments in the Instagram live. Let us know what you thought. Hit us up. I'm not wearing my glasses, so I'm going to have Matt read out anything that pops up on the screen and whatnot. And
So if you see my creepy eyes doing this,
Or mine.
it's because I'm looking at both.
okay.
Sometimes I creep too. We do the
you're
creep
creep.
sometimes.
Do the
we
creep.
just walk the streets and we're doing the creep.
Yeah, we have a Michael Jackson Thriller thing is what that sounds like to me is going on.
But
So,
anyways,
but
guys,
yeah, my God, what an episode! What an
episode 8, Skeleton Crew. Dude, I'm just gonna say it. Like this entire show has blown my socks off. It's been amazing. The show
Yeah,
itself
and
has been great. Episode 8, just as good as episode 7 in my eyes.
And we've kind of alluded to it, talked about it a little bit before on the cast, but it's when you have a show that's all around been great. Like Matt and I have sprinkled a few tens into our ratings. Eric joined that party last week. Yeah. So I mean, we've given it high ratings. We've enjoyed it. A couple hiccups here and there. Some of us might have, but when you have that closer, that clincher of a season finale, that is just a home run. In
Yes.
every sense,
Oh, absolutely.
in my opinion, and you'll see that as we talk through here. But it really almost just makes the whole season flawless at that point.
And
I agree.
in my eyes, the season was flawless. Like there was episodes that I was like, maybe didn't rate quite as high, but when I look at this thing as a whole, now that we've wrapped the whole thing up, this could not have been a better Star Wars show, in my opinion. Every single episode I loved everything that this show had to offer. And like, this is Star Wars. Like, I know we've
100%.
had like discussions in the past on like previous shows and stuff, and kind of been like, on some stuff. Like, this is Star Wars, man. Like, this was amazing action. It was great adventure. It was great comedy, great graphics. This is everything I look for in a Star Wars show or movie, honestly. So, like,
Yeah, and
this,
throw in
honestly,
suspense
Disney, pat
and
yourself on the
honestly,
back,
like, a
man.
little
You
100%.
earned this one.
And we
What was
got
that?
we got a question from, I told you I'm going to monitor the Instagram about what we think about the supervisor. It is from Electro Kevo or Kivo. We will get to that, my friend. Give us,
Yes.
we're going to go in order, but I have
We
a
are.
lot of thoughts and there are things I loved about it. Really no complaints, but I think there's also some cool stuff that they did when we get there that were nice nods to the prequels, believe it
Yes.
or not. And also other sci-fi. But yeah, I mean, I think just to echo you guys, like, what a finale. I mean, no, obviously on my end, similar to you, really no complaints. I think obviously Jon Favreau is a part of a lot of this stuff. And when he directs an episode or writes an episode of one of the shows, you really feel that quality. But the difference in having someone like a John Watts, which we've now, I think, talked about for like 15 weeks, direct a finale with the budget that they had and made it feel really like a feature film.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the quality showed up there. And that's really what I liked about it was it paid off on the promise of this
It
elevated
was like breaking up
content.
a movie over 8 weeks, honestly, or like
100%. I feel the same.
7 weeks, whatever it was.
And in this scenario, it's fantastic. It worked flawlessly.
Absolutely.
No, I agree.
All right, well, let's get in, go just scene by scene with this.
And you know what was cool about this episode? And it's not anything about the my brother came over, Ari, who was on the cast a couple weeks ago. He came over and watched it with me. And if you guys circle back to episode number 1, I don't know if you recall, but one of my comments was I had a smile on my face the entire time. And he got done with this episode, and he was just like, I couldn't stop smiling. And I was like,
Yeah.
It was fun that he had that experience. And frankly, I did too tonight.
Oh, this episode,
that's-
100%.
dude.
It was
I
great,
I was either on the edge of my seat or smiling throughout the whole thing, 100%.
Yeah,
Like
there was some
it was
nail-bit
so
moments.
good.
Let's
But-
dive
I
in.
was smiling. Just the execution was perfect. But let's dive in.
Oh, yes.
Let's do it.
Yes. So, anyways, we pick up right where we left off. Same exact scene and everything. And man, I tell you what, Jude Law played this character so well. Like, Jude Law is not a guy who I typically see as a villain per se. Like, he plays a lot of good guys, and he plays his roles very well. And he killed Jod. Like, absolutely killed Jod. Like,
100%.
it was such good acting from him, because he went from this very likable, charismatic, like pirate prisoner to now like this dude is on Pong Krell level of being hated almost now.
Oh, let's not get nuts.
Maybe
Pong
not
Krell
that
is the
far.
most hated, because there's a lot of I think as we talk
Pong
through
was a
this,
piece of shit.
redeeming.
Yeah.
That guy sucked. But I think there was a lot of redeeming and interesting nuance to this character
Yes.
that you needed an actor like Jude Law to kind of bring to life.
Yeah.
And as we talk through some of the beats and some of the things that happen in the episode, well, we were talking about last week, where I said I think it's interesting when you go back and watch the earlier episodes. Are you gonna feel the way you felt about Jod, right? When you watch them, knowing where it goes. And in my mind, I was like, no. But then there were things in this episode where I was like, maybe, because there were elements, and maybe it's what we talked about a couple weeks ago with an unreliable narrator, and you saw him from the point of view of the kids.
Sure.
But there's some nuance and things that happened to what he did in this
Yeah.
episode that adds a little element of hope to it that I really liked about the character. And you need a Jude Law to do that, because he understands what's between the dialogue and the script.
Yeah,
to bring that to life.
Exactly, and that's acting. And that I like that perspective. But what last week, or when you had said that before, what I really thought about it after the cast, I was thinking about. I'm like, rewatching this, it might feel like a completely different show. Like just with the perspective of
Well,
how
you know where
rewatch
it's going.
it. Yeah.
Right? And I think that for every show. Like, when I rewatch Ahsoka or Obi-Wan, and I rewatch those quite a bit because I love them, I pick up on different things. Some things where I'm like, oh, that's a plot hole, right? Or that I didn't notice the first time, or oh, that's a weird
I don't
choice,
see those.
or oh, that's really cool. Or, I know you don't. Or there's like nuance, like a nuance or a little. Keep saying nuance this episode. I'm gonna stop that. But there's like a
It's
little
kind of a nuance, isn't it?
Kind of a new
It's
sense.
a nuance that I say nuance. It's a new sense. Yeah, no, exactly. But there is an element of, I find a little thing or a little beat that I find interesting, or a story choice. And I think that's going to happen with this. But the one thing I'll say is, for this show, one of the things I really like is everything's kind of airtight. Like there's a rhyme and a reason. Nothing feels forced. Pun intended.
No, yeah.
Nothing feels forced or kind of like contrived. And even like picking up where we left off last week, there is this little part of you when you're watching it where you're like, kids, tell your parents, but like the danger they're in.
Yeah.
And I think ostensibly that danger, as the show goes on, you start to see there was every opportunity for Jod to kill the parents, or every opportunity for Jod to really threaten the kids in front of the parents and reveal himself until he gets to the supervisor. But there is an element for me throughout the episode of, if you want to go with, maybe it's a fool's hope because I love Jod and Jude. Jude's not going to come out of the closet. I know we said that I locked him up, but he escaped yesterday. We've been saying that every week.
Yeah,
But
he's running the
there
streets in New
isn't-
York like a madman.
Yeah, there's an element of him as a character where he had a lot of opportunities to truly be evil, and yes, he was. Like when he shot Brutus, you see kind of the conflict in him throughout this. He never shoots anybody; he shoots near them, right? He talks a lot about, "We'll see what you did, see what it resulted in," but he didn't need those couple of hostages. He had a city of hostages. So I think it's interesting that there is. To me, it feels like a classic Star Wars redemption arc that's starting.
Mildly.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
in a sense, I think kind of my perspective with the character is that, like, when the stuff that he does, I don't believe that it is evil per se. It's just
almost like the
part.
Jack
It's just
Sparrow
part
evil.
of, yeah. It's just part of. It's a part of his means to an end. Like, he's got an objective. If you happen to be in the way, you will be removed.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Yeah.
not. It's not like Brutus. It wasn't like. I mean, he might have had some resentment for him, but like, he shot him. He moved on. It's over. Like, I feel like
that was what he needed to take control of the
it's
situation.
an emotionless kill.
Yeah.
It's not like a Sith fueled by, hatred and emotion here. He's just like, all right, moving on. Let's get the gold.
And we definitely need to talk about, because we got his backstory somewhat, so we definitely got to talk about that.
I have a great theory about that. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago. We can just bounce in and out of moments, I think, first going straight through. We'll do that. So maybe like a month ago, there was a character named, like, a female first name, Nana Wood, who we thought was going to be in it, and that came down from IMDb. It wasn't there. So my wife Jen and I, our unofficial fourth host, who we always talk about, were saying that after the episode, maybe they filmed 2 versions of the episode, and then when the show was doing well, they took that out.
Thinking.
That's what we were thinking. But I think there might have been a flashback that they were going to use that they didn't use. Like, there were 2 versions. But I love the way he put forward, and it really kind of explained. We've all talked about him being a part of Order 66. Who was he? This was better. He's post Order 66.
Yeah.
He saw an Inquisitor that maybe we know killed this person who was going to try to start a new Jedi Order, and then this is speculation based on IMDb taking a name down, but maybe that is why he took that name. It's sort of in honor of that Jedi, or kind of like who he views himself as. And I think that was really interesting when you think about him talking to Wim a couple episodes ago about, like, forgetting everything and moving forward. He's a person who had no hope, got hope, abandoned hope, and now this is how he survives.
Yeah.
There is no, like Ann said, it's not malicious, it is Machiavellian. This is what needs to happen for me to complete the objective that I need to be successful and have survival.
Yeah.
In a sense, very much like a lot of, like a Han Solo type character,
a little bit,
except
Yeah.
rated R version.
A little bit, yeah.
Which is funny because this is more of a kid show, and then it's like they had that opportunity.
I know.
That gets into the Greedo shot first thing, right? Because Han at the outset was a lot more Machiavellian about everything. Like I said, he was a lot more like, I got to do what I got to do. And
Even
then I
at
think
the
they
very
kind
end
of
the
like,
movie, he wasn't in it for anything but the money.
yeah, he wanted one coaxium pod. But that was really, but yeah. And I think that's, maybe it's because the first couple episodes trained us to love the character.
Possibly.
That we're reading into it a little bit. But I'd like to think, like, you think about Callus, you think about all these characters from Rebels, you think about, there might be a little bit of a redemption arc starting here over seasons. If they get the season 2 they're planning.
We
and
didn't
I like
see
the idea,
his end. I will say that.
he had that wry smile, which was a great dichotomy to the second to last shot with Wim having that wry smile, because there's the parallel there.
Yeah.
Right? Of what they had talked about surviving a couple episodes, being a part of the galaxy. Wim's been exposed to the galaxy. It's a different look at it. It's like a wry smile from Jod.
Yeah.
If that's his real name, Silva. It's I'm gonna get out of this, right? And then the Wim smile, I think, is more rooted in I got a whole world in front of me, and now I'm seeing X-Wings, and the barrier is down. My world is opened up. So for both of them, they're smiling at the potential, the opportunity potential, but in very different ways. If the show continues, there's a lot of story to tell there with regard to, how they both progress as people, and, how their paths may intersect or be similar.
Yeah, definitely. And,
I got so well said.
Yes. Honestly, I'm trying to follow that up, and I'm just going to sound like a dumbass probably. So I'll just say, well said. So, but yeah, I just got to say, like, this episode in particular, like, every piece of it was great. The whole opening sequence with finding out who the supervisor is, and I think it was Ari who called it with the droid, and I think one of you guys did too. I was hoping it was going to be like,
I was
not like somebody we knew, but
droid.
I was very
for a person.
That's how.
No, but
I
this
was
makes
too.
sense. It's no plot
It
hole.
does,
If there was a
it
person,
does.
you'd
No,
have to do
it's not.
mental leaps
And
to get there.
I think I
the
wanted
nod
it
about
to be because I wanted there to be a plot hole that I could argue that I was okay with.
Yeah, I mean, it
You always
turned
do.
out okay because I will say where the supervisor drops the line of like, all right, which lie, or which lie is it, the Jedi are traitors, or
Yeah, that was-
or what was it there, the Jedi are traitors, or you're the emissary, and that's when he freaking like just shings the supervisor, and like I thought it was I was just I just really loved the way that it played out per se, because it showed that they had contact with the Republic all the way up until Order 66, and it makes you wonder per se, like how did this just drop off from the
think
rise
it-
of the
it-
Empire?
I think it dropped off with Order 66. That's the end of the Republic, right? Like that's where it lands. That's where it lands, into that disconnection and where they're at, and people like Kim saying,
I'm saying
"You've,
more like,
you haven't."
I'm saying more like, how does the Empire not know about this place really if it picks up?
Oh yeah,
from
like
the
is it in
Republic?
some kind of like file? It's like sort of like
Yeah.
when you become president,
Right.
the first thing you say
Yeah.
is there aliens? It's like, is that Attenreal?
Like, did they
but
put out? They left their book of secrets out or something like that?
maybe they weren't interested and didn't care.
Good.
Or remember, Palpatine had a bunch of like seeded plans. Like Anakin's
Yeah.
one of them to see if it comes to fruition. Maybe he was using this as like, if we ever need the money and the
he
Galactic
knew it
Bank
was
on
literally
Moon goes dry.
defenseless.
And maybe
So
that
he
comes
was
into
just-
play later on, because we do know that when the First Order rises, it is well funded.
Absolutely, yeah. I
So
mean, that could be very. And we're getting into this is supposed to intersect with the Filoni movie.
Yes.
But before we get too far off the supervisor, the main the AI, first of all, phenomenal nod to HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yes.
Which is what my dog is named after, with the red dot and that coming up. I love the way
I never put that
it-
together with your dog, actually.
Oh no, it's my dog's name is, yeah. But also, the way it went blue and red, like it was reading Jod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that it was in control of the situation, without obviously not fully in control, but in control of the situation and in its understanding. And it also kind of speaks to the hubris of the High Republic and the Old Republic and the Republic going into the Empire, that it kind of had him pegged, right?
Yeah.
And assumed it was going to get to take control with its droids, but it really hadn't planned for the outlier that he would just stab it.
Yeah.
Like that didn't even enter the AI its mind, and I think that was a kind of a nice subtle nod. And maybe it wasn't. Maybe they weren't thinking about that, but it's kind of a nice subtle nod to what's always happened in Star Wars and what happens in every government. Right? You get the hubris of being in control, and you lose control because you're not thinking about that outlier, like too
Yeah.
big to fail, that kind of a thing.
Definitely agree
absolutely.
with that.
We did have a comment come in by Ravenous Hunger 66.
Gonna call that out.
This show was just so absolutely great to its core. Also, got to show some love for the Nihilist shirt.
Well, you can buy that Nihilist shirt because
Yes,
it is
you
our Sith
can.
Happen shirt. Check out pretty much everybody it's right now on the show's page. And it's a great shirt. It's very affordable, and it's in multiple colors. So absolutely
is.
snag
And
a
we
shirt.
are
It'll help
giving-
us to get better stuff.
And we are giving one away here at the end of this podcast. If you did go and like that post that we did, so stick around. If you did like that, stick around because you might win one. But yeah, so the opening scene was great. The whole power shutting down across the planet, really cool. And then I was like, once that happens, droids go into full shutdown mode. I was like, all right, it's go time, baby. This is the magic of time. And
Yeah, we get our speeder chase.
And
Which
firstly, that
was-
speeder chase was amazing.
Well, film movie quality first and foremost,
like-
and the beats and the action in it, and having, I think the big thing about a really good action scene is literally that there's minor problems that need to be solved. Like it's its own little stories, and the jump, and the dad saying he's too heavy, and all those things. That to me was what made it great. That it wasn't just a chase.
Yeah.
They created these little elements under the bridges on the water.
Yeah,
like
through the
wow,
building.
something really special. Oh, the school, bringing back everything from the earlier episodes.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it as we're watching this too. Like it's just a chase scene. This one chase scene, I'm thinking about like all the past movies and everything else we've had. Like it was just better than what we've gotten in like a lot of other stuff. Like I thought back to the Rise of Skywalker chase scene with the speeders in the desert, and I was like, this is even better. This is better than that. Like it was just very enjoyable. It was fun to watch, and it kept me on the edge of my seat my whole time because I kept just all right, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And then they almost plucked our boy Neil off, which thank God they didn't, because there would have been a goddamn riot. Let me tell you that right now, and I would have let it. And our folks start getting their moments, man. So once Neil says, yeah, take off, and he starts going to his objective, I thought immediately back to Akron. I'm like, he's going for the gun.
And that is, I didn't put 2 and 2 together till he was on the roof.
Oh, you didn't.
And then I saw that, and
I called it. So, like, as soon as he got separated, I was like, he's going for the gun. And my brother, was like, he didn't know what I was talking about. I felt so excited. I'm like, I figured something out first. Here we go. And, there he goes. And he got his one shot in, and that's what he needed.
that was all he needed.
He had his moment. He had his moment.
Everybody got their moment in the episode, which I also think was great. Even SM33, aka Smee, everybody got their moment. And I think
my boy came back.
What I really liked about the gun bit too is I always say the absolute height of having good drama, good action is you kind of forget something's going on the side, and then it comes into play. So I was later than you, Ant, on. Oh my God, it's the gun from the roof from the other planet, which makes that episode, which I always said is my least favorite episode of the series, better, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God, that's the gun.
For you.
100%. And it's like he's going for the gun. And then I kind of forgot he was waiting for the gun to get turned on until it hit the frigate. And I think that to me was amazing because I was like, oh my God, I'm so wrapped up in this that I forgot that that's happening on the side. And then it came into play. And that to me is when we said this is an amazing show, a great episode, the magic of this and the magic of how well done it is.
Absolutely, man. And it just kept getting better from there, man. After Neil has his moment, takes out the ship, we all see the Onyx Cinder floating down. Everybody's scared, and I was like, man, I feel like it can't go out like that. It can't.
Oh, I knew.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, as soon as it hit, I'm just like that. Like he's freaking out. I'm like, that was a landing.
I was like, I saw it, and I was like, I don't see an explosion. I think they're okay
because it could have flattened out at the end there.
Yeah,
100%.
But
we just got a comment in from It Doesn't Matter Now. Does Sith does it? Sequels are peak. Change my mind. Well, good news. Our next episode is us talking about the sequels. So tune in to the next podcast because literally that is our first podcast coming back from where you have Ant, who's an unapologetic sequel fan, Eric, not a sequel fan, and I'm in the middle. So absolutely tune in for that one because we're going to speak to that for you.
But guess what? We are all respectful to each other about how we feel. And that's
we'll see.
Even though Ant and I have highly differing opinions, I still love them, even though some days I want to choke them. Not really. It's actually more Matt than you. It's more.
Yeah, Matt I generally do that to people.
That's because Matt's been around longer. He's had more opportunity.
Yeah, that's all it is. He'll get to know you better. But so what you were saying too, the ship going down, it was a great plot point. What I liked again, we tie it back to Jod, right? Mm-hmm. That ultimately when the ship goes down, it decelerated. When he goes, go to the window and see what you've done. And it ties back in later on when he talks about his history with the Jedi, that he's been trying to kind of show the kids the galaxy is not a good place.
Yeah.
I'm not a good guy. You guys need to learn. And I don't think he did that it was malicious in the sense that you need to learn your lesson.
Yeah.
You did something dumb. You tried to escape. And essentially that this is the result. Like, look, you're going to become who I am the more you try to fight the darkness of the galaxy. And I like the way that they did that. And I think I contextually in that moment, I was like, screw Jod. But as it comes full circle and you see what you learn about Jod, that is where he's sort of, we had a good comment from Hal Runner Base. And I don't know if you mean by no accountability, but to me, exactly. He's not accountable for what just happened, but he's showing them that when you do these things happen to you.
Yeah.
He's trying to teach the kids, like, this is not a nice place, and you're all naive. Which then ties into who he says he was, which we need to get into, which is very interesting, especially when you talk about the credits. And I hope everybody that's tuning in watch the credits because there's a lot to them.
Yes.
But yeah,
There is. Now, and I think in that scene, if you're watching his face and his expressions, when KB goes down, there is a moment of remorse there where
Absolutely.
where he shows, and
Yeah,
it's very
he-
brief, but he shows his I guess weakness, if you will, of he does have emotions.
Yeah,
He's just
he
very,
still has
very,
this.
very good at hiding them.
He's conflicted.
Yeah, I think so I think, like I said earlier, he has kind of that Jack Sparrowing thing going on where he has the good side to him, but he tries to really mask it and almost tries too hard to put forth the bad, so to say.
Well, I think
Yeah.
ultimately that it's not that he leans into the pirate. It's that ultimately terrible things have happened to him. He
Yeah.
lived in a hole. We'll get into it now. And there's this moment of hope where a Jedi hides there after Order 66. Tells him he's special. Something better can happen. The Jedi gets hunted down and killed in front of him, so the Empire can show him that the Jedi are nothing, right? Maybe
Yeah.
there's something about that past race to escape the Empire or the Inquisitors. We don't know. Or there's sort of like a Star Warsy thing where, like, in that moment he gets away from an explosion, whatever it is. So I think it's a little bit of there's this hope, but then it's dashed by him remembering that he had hope, and then it was lost.
And let's just talk about
Yeah.
how good Jude Law did, given the explanation before the show even started. Like when they said, who is John? And he just said he's a survivor.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Like how good was that? Like I was thinking about that as he's going through that whole scene there, and I was just like, that was perfectly done. So, but and
Yeah,
so,
no, they did a good job, and it really again gave you that little bit of information that you were kind of grasping for.
Yeah.
Because we all were, I feel like wanting a little bit more backstory on John, but had they tried to throw in any sort of flashback, it just wouldn't have made sense. So the way they did
It would've
to
jarred
me hit perfectly and struck that level of emotion that I look for in the show.
Yeah, and like to that point, Hal Runner based, you said, so is he a Jedi or isn't he? He's not. I think they established that. I think what they established was a Jedi came and tried to teach him after Order 66. If you
Yeah.
read the comics, if you look at the content, all the Jedi kind of go and do their own thing with finding someone to try to start the Jedi Order. But ultimately they were killed in front of
Yeah.
him. And that kind of becomes the he's a survivor element of it, which I think is really good. It's mysterious. I see the Dad Vader. You would have liked a little more meat to the episode instead of lining up next season. Totally fair.
That's
Totally fair,
valid.
especially with the ways Star Wars shows don't get next seasons. So you end up in a situation where, they've set all these things up and it doesn't pay off. I will say that based on the structure of the show, in my opinion, and I'll let the boys also speak to it, based on the structure of the show, it's been pretty lean as far as a linear story and keeping it moving without getting too far into the depth. I think of it more as like a movie almost than a
Yeah.
show, the way they've run it. But there's definitely an element of even how they ended the episode, sort of. And it's funny. I think on episode 4, I felt like they ended it too abruptly. There is an
Yeah.
element there of how they ended it that was very abrupt, but to the point of, sorry guys, I'm just reading comments now.
Yeah.
Does it need a second season? Maybe not. That's a satisfying ending, and we know it's
Yeah,
going to tie into the Filoni movie. So maybe the next element. I think I read something that this planet, if you look at a star map, is close to Dothamir, so it sets it up very nicely to be near Dothamir. So maybe not. Maybe the next time you see these kids is a part of that movie. Something's going on there, and it pulls them in. And Jod's arrested. He's in some kind of a jail at Atten. He's needed. So we don't really know. And that wry smile at the end shows he's got a plan. So I think those are fair points, but there's definitely ways around them.
Yeah, and like I think you said it best. Like, does it need a second season? No. Do I think that they could do a lot with it still? Absolutely. This was a very beloved show as far as Star Wars goes. Not often is it like received as well in the community because we know the fandom menace can be a absolutely brutal thing to deal with in Star Wars. But this was received very, very well. And on top of that, like it's going into this New Republic era where we don't have a ton of content. And even though I'm not, like I've said before, not a sequel fan, they could do a lot and they could do really good stuff with this. So what they do remains to be seen. But, you know, we'll find out
And
for
this
that.
took a long time to write and come out from announcement. And I think if there is going to be a second season, there needs to be time to flesh that story out. There's a lot that's left here. And a good part about this show was, like I said, I don't feel like there were a lot of holes in the plot. And
No,
a lot
there
of that
really
was
wasn't.
the time they meticulously took to put it together. So if you're going to do a second season, the kids obviously have to get to the ship or there's another plot mechanism. So I would rather wait a longer amount of time to get us there to
Yeah.
make sure it all really makes sense. Because the ship is trashed, right? How do they get back off planet? What does this mean for how they are in relationship to the New Republic? Now that X-Wings have been there, do they know it exists? There's a lot to do with that, but there's a lot hanging, which I think is, you know, call it a showrunner's trick. They're trying to make everybody want more and Disney know that more is available.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah.
So, but moving
And I know, you know, there's been comments said before by the folks at Disney that if there were to be a second season, I believe it was said that it would be set in the future in the show to accommodate for the aging of the kids. So
Yeah.
I don't foresee it being anytime soon, which I think would give them ample time to do hopefully exactly what they did with this season. And you know, to me, it's kind of like almost got the a vibe to like a show on Netflix like Outer Banks. I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys have watched Outer Banks.
No.
Nothing to do with Star Wars. But Outer Banks, in my opinion, great show. Every season is good, but it doesn't really need to move forward.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and for
I
me,
get that.
the seasons get better, but it's not needed. Like you could end it and it'd be great. So
Yeah.
if they
No,
do
and that's-
choose
that's
to end
valid.
it, you know, so be it. Should they choose to end it? In my opinion, no, absolutely not. This is like by far been like you said, one of the best received shows. I'd say probably the best received show that I've seen in the fandom, at least since probably Mandalorian. Like
I would
people
agree.
got their shit to say about Book of Boba Fett, Acolyte, of course, even some of the later Mandalorian episodes. So, but
Kenobi.
this is Kenobi, which again my favorite. You know, last year on my birthday, I watched that whole thing, Kenobi, front to back.
It's a good way to spend a birthday.
It was
I
great.
wish I had that
I have a
time.
birthday in 2 days, and I might
I
do
know.
something like that too.
I gotta send you something.
But no, but I was going to say there's a comment here about Wim looking at the X-Wings and that kind of awe. But I think that is, I don't know if it's like a full nod to will be in the Resistance or anything like that, but it's nice because he saw this bigger world and this opportunity to be a hero. I want to use this opportunity to talk about, though, because we've been getting very analytical and pretty serious for a show where we make a lot of jokes. Can we just talk really quickly before we I think we're getting close to ratings on the episode?
Yes.
Live action B-Wings again.
Dude, I'm
Ladies
so,
and
oh
gents.
my god, I've been
Like, I was
waiting
like-
for this moment,
it was-
and they
I was
used
like,
it how it was supposed
it's
to.
supposed to be used. It's a blockade buster, and like the way they used it when they hit the ship with the tri. Oh my god, it's like
Dude,
you knew the
when
nerds
that
were
happened,
watching.
when that happened, I like when I saw the B wings coming, I was like, "Are
Hold up. Wait a minute.
they going to actually do this?" I was like,
they
"Are
did.
they
Me
actually
too.
going
It was-
to do this?"
It was the moment.
And
It's
they
weird.
can't
It was in an episode of Great Moments. That was a big moment for me. That is not
It was a big-
integral to the plot, but
Anybody
that was
who's
awesome.
watched Rebels knows how big that fucking moment is.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you see it in Return of the Jedi, but now you can see it in Rebels and to see that live. What a nice touch in a show where they did not do a lot of connection to other content in a good way. Let's get new fans in. They don't need
Exactly.
to know. That,
And
even
it's
for me, if you're
cool
going to bring
'cause it-
kids to. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry I interrupted you, but it really shows kind of the flex of where the new Republic is at right now. You know, they get to that point where they've got their shit kind of together, and I think that might be kind of the time that we're in right now.
Yeah. We had a
I,
good comment come in actually a minute ago. It said, "What good could come of introducing Atman to the known galaxy?" And I'll say this much because,
Well,
like,
if you go back, they had said in saving and the skeleton crew essentially doomed their home planet. So
Oh,
that
okay,
was
I
kind
missed
of a
that one.
follow-up one to that.
gotcha. Okay, I missed that first one.
Questioning, you know, another person's comment as to why. But I mean,
But
I don't know.
I,
I don't think he necessarily. It's going to cause a lot of change for the people of Anaheim, that's for sure.
It's going to cause a lot of change for the galaxy. They just the New Republic was broke as shit when they started off, basically, and now they just got a planet that has 1,040 vaults filled of Old Republic credits.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in credits with gold, like the old standard. Let's do it.
And not to mention that this planet of people who's making said money believes that they work for the Republic.
Yeah,
Yep.
they got a lot to learn. That's for damn sure.
That's 100%. But I think it's not great for AT-AT in the sense of their independence.
Yes,
Because they're gonna have to they have perceived in like part of a bigger picture, but this is now they're gonna find out they're not part of a bigger picture anymore. But then also kind of like what similar to the kids, right? What it means to be a part of this larger galaxy. And I want to say when Fern is talking to her mom, there's a great echo there to what Dave Filoni has always said, and it's that when he talked to George Lucas, the core principle of Star Wars is it's about hope. There always needs to be. I love that comment. Hyperinflation will be the downfall of the New Republic. But I was going to say, but that there always needs to be a twinge of hope, and that's what Fern's saying. And we've seen them go through these trials and tribulations. And you think about the Cthulhu monster, and you think about the people like him that helped them. That they've seen a lot of bad, but they've seen a lot of good, and that is the element of hope that Star Wars brings, and that's the point of Star Wars.
And and getting back to the episode, I will say just the way everything ended, Jod watching the ship go down, kids are reunited, looking at the X-Wings, all of it. It was a great ending. Like, honestly, it was just like, I thought it would go a little bit different. Like, it would kind of close it, so to say, a little bit more and not leave it as open as it was. But that being said, the way that they it played out, I thought it was great because they could do a lot with it. They can leave it where it is. And at the end of this, watching it, it just made me really happy that I watched this so much, that I watched this, and I was so excited for it. It was a great series.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have a guest star really quick because my dog is jumping in my lap, so everybody's going to see my Ewok. This is my dog, Hal 9000.
Bork.
My Ewok, who was jumping in my lap during this podcast.
Num num.
Yeah, nub nub, chub chub. But but I think I think we need to start to expect with a lot of these shows they're hoping for a second season. You're very rarely, Andor's the final season, so you'll get a conclusion-ish there because it leads into Rogue One. But ultimately, there's going to be a lot of this like unfinished business as we watch the shows.
Mm-hmm. Well, so you look at it this way with that too, is Andor, they kind of have to do that because like Rogue One came out years ago, and even though Diego Luna looks amazing for his age, these guys are getting much older than what they were in Rogue One at this point. And the flip side of that is with these kids are like going in the right direction as far as age wise to go into another series. So maybe we see something with it, maybe we don't, but regardless. Now, I know you guys were a little bit more hyped about the end credits scene, too, because I don't think I paid attention as much as I should have. So bring it in. Like,
It looks like Wim's storybook, but it's telling you Jod's story. I mean, that's all I can say, which is really interesting. You see a Padawan training. It's a metaphor for Jod. I don't think he was like a Padawan, but then it kind of closes out on a Jedi dying and then getting into the kid's story. So it's that connection that, like we said, maybe there was a different episode and why they had the name the Nana Wode Jedi.
Yeah.
And IMDb they got taken down. Maybe they switched out the episode.
That's definitely plausible, and I 100% believe that they had a lot more footage than what they put out there. So there could have been something very different that they did have initially that they just decided to do this little nod with that one last credit scene. So I don't know about you boys, but I think that wraps us up with this episode pretty well, and I think it's time to give episode ratings. What do you think?
I'm ready.
All right. And Matt, you seem hyped, so why don't you go first, homie?
I mean, there's nothing more I can say. It was a 10 out of 10. I mean, I think the whole season, the whole season's been great for me, and it's not surprising. This was a 10 out of 10. They landed the plane for me. I understand there was plot threads left going into a future season or whatever Filoni's going to do, but I'm totally okay with it. And my hope is that if it ends up in the Filoni movie before a second season, they do what they did with Avengers Endgame, where James Gunn wrote the Guardians dialogue in that movie. Mm-hmm. They'll bring that spirit to it, but either way, I'm very satisfied with what we got and excited for a second season.
Absolutely. Ant, what do you got, homie?
Yeah, what Matt said.
Perfect.
No, 10 out of 10. I do
say that more.
Yeah, I was hoping for more there, but okay.
I agree with you 100%. Like, again, I'll go as far to say as I'll go with a straight 10 for the season. Like I did rate some of the some of the episodes a little bit lower, but as a whole, I'd say it was a great season that, like Kenobi, I could sit and watch that in a day, no problem, and just enjoy the whole thing.
100%. 10.
Which, I do have my birthday off, so I might.
I'm not doing Kenobi again. Yeah.
Might watch Kenobi again, is what I was going to say. No. But the episode, it's for me, it closed everything. It didn't leave anything on the table. I loved the ending where Jod's just kind of standing there. I know we kind of discussed it, but, in any other situation on any other planet, more than likely, if you had the, quote, bad guy and then the good guys leaving there, they probably wouldn't just leave the bad guy, And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, well, these people, they are essentially babies in this galaxy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're very, very naive.
Just happy to be alive.
There was some points we don't have time to talk about, but just where that is kind of with Wim's dad even brought a little bit more to life in this episode with a couple he thinks, oh, the power's gonna come back on. Sir, no.
No, it's not.
For me, all these things are good. The open threads, as a Star Wars lover, fantastic, because I'm pumped for a season 2. Bring it on. I hope they do.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go out there, and I think I'm going to do something I've never done, and I am giving this an 11 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Jeez. All right, well, the cast is over. Never again. We're last episode. This is our show finale of the podcast.
Our show finale. No, it was so, and I say this, and I think it's because it's the culmination of everything at this point, because, so I've given some lower ratings on the episodes. Some of them were 7 and 8 and 9s and stuff like that. But the thing was, I still enjoy them because I wanted to get the full story on it. And now that I have this full story, this episode culminating and wrapping up this entire season, essentially, it was an amazing wrap up, in my opinion. It had all the big things I look for in Star Wars, which it had great action, it had great comedy in it, because Star Wars has always had comedy in it. Just it varies based off of the decade
very
it
well
comes
written
out
comedy.
in. Yes,
yeah,
and it had the sense of adventure and wonder that Star Wars has always been. So, and honestly, just I could not have probably picked a better way to do it. There's some like I think we've all said it, there's some little plot holes, little things here and there, but it is minuscule at best, to be completely honest.
One of the best things they've done, if not, I mean, my favorite will always be Rebels, but one of the best things they've done, period.
This is easily, in my opinion, one of the best things Star Wars has done, definitely since Disney has took over. One of the best Star Wars pieces of Star Wars, I think, that there has been. I've just enjoyed it so much. So yeah, 11 out of 10. I'm giving it for the, I'm gonna do that for the season 2. I'm giving that an 11 out of 10 too. Just bro. Great. Yes. So
is it the overall average 10.5 out of 10 or 10 point? Well, it's good.
Something
we liked it, guys. Anybody that listens to this podcast, we liked it. Yeah.
Round it up. Wow. Move the 2. But anyways, so wrapping up our episode review here, we're going to get into the fun things. We're not going to make you guys wait any longer. For those of you who might be watching at home, we are going to get straight into the giveaway, which I cannot show it on the Instagram live just because I can't take the phone off, but I am going to show it on our podcast screen. So please make sure you guys go back, and excuse me if I'm squinting.
Or you do that runner base when we get into Collector's Corner. I am going to answer your Black Series question. But
anyways, so this is our t-shirt that is on gorycomics.com. If you guys have not checked it out yet, please do. Gory Comics is some of the best stuff out there, honestly, and I love their stuff. I'm rocking one right now. This is
I got the hat, which is not for sale yet, the prototype.
No, that's it. But anyway, so we are going to do this. I got a little wheel of names drawn up, which I am going to get ready to do right now. Like I said, I can't share this on Instagram Live, but I will put it on the screen for our podcast, so you guys can go check that out at YouTube. And I'm not cheating, so give me a second here, and we are going to spin. I'm putting my glasses on to see who actually wins.
No one thought you were going to be cheating, Eric. You are a stand-up citizen.
And it is Crazy Woman 66. So
holy shit!
congratulations on winning the T-shirt. We will be reaching out to you to get which your color, size, shipping address, all that stuff. But big congratulations, and thanks for following. Yes, thank you for following Sith Happens and for following Gory Comics. If you guys want, you can go check them out at gorycomics.com, or you can go check out their Instagram at gorycomics. And got that taken care of. Now we're gonna move into the fun bit, which is Collector's Corner. And normally I let you guys go first.
Before you go, we got a good question from our friend Hal Runner Base. So thank you for all the engagement on this. What Skeleton Crew characters do you want to see in the future of Black Series besides SM33 who's been announced? I'm going to tell you my two, and if you guys have them, go for it. So first and foremost, I love just like a proper Silvo with the helmet. But truly, yes. I've said this multiple weeks. He's been in multiple shows. I want a Vane figure. Every time he's on screen, I see Vane. I get stoked on Vane. I love having random aliens in the photos I take on Black Series Daily Desk. Give me Vane. My wife will tell you it makes her insane for Vane. Every time he's on screen, I'm like, I need a Vane figure. She's like, I get it. I don't care.
I think we need to get
that is my number one is a Vane. Sorry.
Nope, I'm with you there.
Okay.
I think that Vane would be a great addition. I don't know that I need a figure of any of the parents. I wouldn't go that route.
Nah.
But, honestly, any of the pirates who
get a Dio with a supervisor.
You
want a Gunter? The Urkel figure? I'd take that too.
I would actually
I'd say
love
any
that.
of the pirates, even like a multi-pack of pirates. Like, how cool would that be?
Awesome.
For a toy?
They're going to give you that in
be really
TBC.
sick.
They're going to give you that in TBC, so us Black Series collectors will get like angry. So congratulations, Eric, on your TVC collecting. But 100%. I mean, a multi-pack of pirates, but Gunter and Vane for sure. And then I forget the type alien with the three eyes. Looks kind of like a goat or whatever.
I'm sorry.
With the eye patch.
I
for what?
have to interrupt you, Kim.
Oh, Kim would be a cool. I mean, that's going to be. They're going to charge you like
that thing
$25.
That thing better be cheap. Like
I'll still buy it. Yeah, I'll buy it too. Yeah, it's not. They're going to do the
what
with
did I ask
Grogu.
for? What did I ask for? I asked.
Kim
I wanted to see Kim again, and what did we get tonight? We got Kim again.
Kim, yeah, she's this show's Maz Kanata.
I love Kim.
All right. Well, now that we got that out of the way, because mine was Gunter too, I'm gonna lead off Collector's Corner unless you guys have any arguments against it.
Go for it, brother.
So I'm coming in hot with mine because your boy just got something good in from Sabermax Lightsabers. It's one I affiliate with, and I am so stoked for this. And I had to turn the sound off just because I got kids sleeping next door, so you're not gonna be able to hear it. But I got my Darksaber.
Who'd you kill for that?
The mailman, because it can only be one in combat. So on the podcast camera, you guys can't see it too well, just because it's bright.
It looks good on the live.
Yeah, the live is
getting
good though. Yeah. So, but I'll do a quick turn the light off so you guys can do a quick close up for it. Let me turn it off here.
You know how you know something's badass is when you say you guys aren't going to be able to hear this, and then you turn it on and there's no sound, but I still hear it.
Yeah,
100%.
The hilt on this is absolutely gorgeous, man. Like it's got good weight to it and everything. The blade is sturdy as all hell. Like this thing just looks and feels so awesome. Like this is honestly like a huge centerpiece for me. The Darksaber and Cal Kestis' saber are my two favorite sabers in all of Star Wars.
Dang, dude, you got to do a Collector's Corner with Cal's saber. I don't think I've
never seen you.
Well, I don't have that one. I'm saying the hilts are my favorite. Like I want to get that one. So. But in addition to getting the saber, I also got this, which if hopefully you guys can read it. It's a customized hilt stand that I can put it on, and it's got my name, the Dadalorian, engraved on it with some mythosaurs, and it says Darksaber on it. So honestly, Sabermax knocked it out with this. It looks amazing. It feels amazing. This is arguably one of the coolest pieces of my Star Wars collection now. So, and I've already made like 4 videos with it because I can't put this thing down, honestly. So,
and his videos are killer.
Yeah, I try to be funny. So, this has been like a big desirable one for me for years now, and to have it finally, it was actually like crazy to finally like hold it and be like, I got it.
It's so cool.
Put that down so I don't hurt anyone. or anybody tries to take the throne of Mandalore from me. Anyways, but that's mine. And when we wrap up, I do got a good thing coming from SaberMax as well. I'll show that at the end for everybody to go check out. So, but for now, Matt or Ant, which one of you guys wants to go?
Who wants to go? You want to go out?
I'll go first. I'll
Go
take
first.
it this time.
I always go
Usually
first
I force
or
you
second,
to, if I have
you
the
got it.
opportunity.
Did I show you up?
Man, you did for sure. But I was kind of going between a couple things. I'm gonna go with this one just because it goes well with yours. I was photographing this figure the other day, and
Oh, I love that figure.
it is just such a badass
man,
figure.
yes.
Wish it was
And
the modern Mandalorian body, but I'll allow it because I love that figure.
the
Very
dark saber
fitting.
detail for the Black Series saber is honestly really good.
I mean, I love the helmet. They really
helmet
they
is
used an
badass.
old body mold, but the new sculpt stuff they did with the helmet.
And I will
and the-
acknowledge that comment. Like, yeah, I saw a lot of people did not like that body mold. And here's the truth about that mold is that it is difficult to pose, and it
Well, it
doesn't.
snaps the wires when you bend the arm. That's what I
Yeah.
hate about it.
It does.
For someone like me, that's not as
But
big a
if
deal.
you're careful, then you're going to be okay. That's the moral of the story. But
The head on that is not my favorite. That's really my complaint about the figure.
Seriously?
I don't like the I don't
I
like that
think
it's got like
I think he
chops.
looks pretty good.
I don't hate it, but it's not my favorite.
oh man, well, that's what I was just gonna say. Well, I love the sculpt on this guy. This face looks fantastic. Hi, all right, pretty. Sorry, man.
Can you show it to the
Sorry you
people
don't
on
like
the
it.
live also? Because you're neglecting them. Yeah, this is
Sorry,
the Paz
live.
Vizsla figure for
Sorry,
anybody
live
that's not
guys.
seeing Eric Ant play with his toys live.
Hey guys, how are you? I'm good. Sorry.
This
Anyways,
is just
but,
premium content. I apologize in advance.
but no,
Normally you gotta
Matt,
pay
just
extra
for
for that
you,
kind of thing.
here you go with his helmet on, so you don't have to look at his despicable face.
It's not
But
despicable. It's not my
badass-
favorite.
Badass jetpack too.
Oh yeah, and I love
Really
that they
good
got the holder
detail
for
on
the
it.
dark saber on the back of it.
Yeah.
And after this, Ant's gonna drop his OnlyFans for you guys, where he plays with his toys called Only Black Series.
Yeah.
The Black Series.
That's his only ants.
The cat's out of the bag. But
I love how you remembered the soundboard now after making that a
Yeah,
core
seriously.
part of 2 episodes ago.
It's been this whole thing.
It's been a
But
good listen. We've
it's a
been
great
worried about
figure,
other
and
stuff.
I don't photograph it often enough, probably because it is hard to pose. But
Yeah, that's
you know what's not hard to pose? Grievous. I always like to just.
I don't want to. This has got to stop being recurring mockery of me. It's not an easy figure to stand up. Most people will agree.
Not the soundboard. All right, your turn, buddy.
Okay, so for mine,
Wow.
it's more of a sentimental thing. So I have 2 really good friends. They are, it's my oldest friend. She's like a sister to me. My second oldest friend, I'll never discount Crispy SBS. Check out his Instagram. But she and her partner,
Crispy.
they went to Galaxy's Edge, and he loves Star Wars. They were trying to find a present for me. They couldn't find anything. And I'm not a helmet collector, but they got me this X-Wing helmet.
Hell yeah.
What? When?
And
Oh,
not
that's,
a helmet, and they brought it and they dropped it off for me.
What do you call it?
I'm putting it
Biggs
on here.
helmet.
I actually promised them that I would wear it on the cast, but then I remembered that I can't have my headphones on when I do it, so I can't hear anything. So I'm just going to hold it and say, Red 3 standing by with the Biggs helmet. But I love it. I don't often get helmets, so and I know that obviously
You could sign
my
off
helmet
wearing
is
that.
yeah. Honestly, my only Black Series helmet is Rex, which is awesome. And this is more of a Galaxy's Edge kind of gift shop helmet. But I really love it. And I'll wear it when I sign off. That's for sure something I'll do. Good call.
That's so
But
cool.
yeah, I just love it. It's cool. And even though it's not as, advanced as like a Black Series helmet, it's awesome. And if you go to Galaxy's Edge and you're not a huge Black Series collector, I've never been to Galaxy's Edge. Constant point of contention on this
Yeah.
podcast, neither is Eric. But it's something
Yeah,
cool
I
to
live
grab
in
and
Florida.
enjoy.
I won't be going anytime soon, but sometime, let's make a 5-year plan. We can do a 5-year plan.
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
Listen, so
Thanks, Mudscupper. It was a nice gift.
We still gotta make a plan for the 3 of us to go. So maybe that's to meet up. So maybe that's the
what
plan.
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the plan. We just made it.
Yeah. There we go.
We got witnesses.
Dope collector's corner though. I love the helmets. I do. I got quite a few of them. The X-wing helmets just look cool, and honestly, like they're fun ones to wear. Like that's a. Oh, what are you doing?
We don't have to get into this, but a question that I have that I thought about the other day is why are the goggles yellow? Like, who does that help? It's like, but it's probably something to do with the targeting computer. I'll, debunk it. I'll look to see if there's something on the internet about it
You
later.
know what's interesting? A lot of like safety goggles are yellow as well. Maybe it kind of
It has
somehow.
to do with sparks or explosions. I don't know if anybody can comment very quickly on why they know that, but let's
don't
go
know.
for that.
Maybe
Ravenous Hunger 13 Black Series helmet. That's
Damn.
my wife Jen Kelly saying I better start saving my Imperial credits. Those credits are no good anymore in the New Republic, so we're good. But so I gotta start making New Republic money. Everything still spends. It's just the exchange rate.
Hey, I
But
heard of this
with
place
that,
called Atten. We could go there and get real rich.
but yeah. So
What's that
anyway,
exchange rate in pesos?
it's gonna.
Well,
become
actually, you know what?
It's like
I
it's like
don't remember Atten.
yeah, I don't recall remember. But with that said, maybe it becomes like Thai money. So like, one at and Dattery is worth like 8,000 days on the beach in the New Republic. We'll reverse it.
cool.
Maybe the Old Republic, the Dateries are better. But yeah.
I'll tell you what. I think it was Howler or Ravenous said it. Hyperinflation is going to kill him, which is
It's 100%. Yeah, and at Mudscuffer, my dog hates when I wear my helmets, especially with the voice modulator.
Yeah,
He
small
tries to
dogs don't
fight
like
it
it.
on my shelf. They're not a big fan of the helmets.
No.
All right, but so we are going to wrap up here shortly, guys. But I did want to share something. Now, I did show you earlier this saber I got from SaberMax. This is the newest one that is just been released here today, right in time for the finale of Skeleton Crew, and it is this.
Is it John Woods?
Yep, Jadna
Wow.
Woods, the Renard. So it's named after, Tak Renard's
Interesting.
song. It looks amazing. So I actually got a video from them earlier today about this one, and something that's really different about this saber than some other ones is like in these sabers, typically it's hard. It's like all like a big piece to remove the battery. It's all with the computer board and the NeoPixels and stuff. This one actually has like a removable computer board with the battery attached that just slides out the bottom there where you see the gold and brown meat. So that's actually really nice if you're a person who likes to play with these, kind of make some customizations and stuff like that. But you can find it on their website, which let me just make sure I get it right. It is sabermaxlightsabers.com. And you can check out their Instagram at SaberMaxSG. And just because I affiliate with them, you can use the code the Dadalorian to receive 10% off of your order if you do order from them.
Hey.
There you go. And
cool.
you very much. And that wraps us up for today, boys. So to everybody listening to this or watching this on our podcast streaming, as well as our Instagram live, we really want to thank you guys for hanging out with us and talking the last episode of Skeleton Crew. It's been a crazy couple of weeks here as we've been talking about this, and I think we've all been blown away by it. Excuse me. But as always,
You gonna cry? That was excuse me.
I had
Just keep going.
I had a hiccup coming along. I had to suppress. But you guys can check us out on our Instagram at Sith Happens _Stars podcast. That will have the link to all of our various streaming platforms that you can find us. Obviously, since we're all in the U.S., you will not find us on TikTok anytime soon. That being said, and I could see the confused look on your face if you didn't know TikTok's being banned in the U.S.
He knows. I made fun of it the other day.
Okay.
Like imminently or?
In
Yeah,
like
imminently
4 days.
Oh, wow.
by the 19th.
So anyway,
Let's not get into that. Yeah.
yeah, we're not getting into that. But anyways, you can check out all of our other platforms that we're on. Go give us a follow and watch out for more t-shirt giveaways. And we got some more fun episodes coming up. We encourage you guys to check us out next week as Ant and I go at it when we talk the sequels and what we think of them. So that wraps up for today, boys. So Ant, why don't you lead us in signing out?
Hey, so I always love to do the episode recap podcast with you guys. It's one of my favorite ones just because it's something raw that we've never seen before. It is just great discussing it with you. So having now experienced the Acolyte and this with you guys in this sense has added a whole kind of new element to my viewing because I also view it knowing that I'm going to be doing this right afterwards too. So our normal podcast outside of the shows obviously is really good. Next week, we're going to see Eric sadly have a really great episode talking with me about some awesome Star Wars content. So join us to talk about the sequels, and we'll see y'all then.
All right, and then I think I'm usually next. What I want to say is, one, appreciate my wife outing me that Force Awakens is my second favorite Star Wars movie, and I will die on that hill. We'll talk about it next week. But what I really want to say is, Eric and I started this a little more than a year ago. We started doing live, a couple months ago. I appreciate so much engagement from folks like Howl Runner Base and Ravenous Hunger. We love Star Wars. I know you guys do too. And we love talking about it. It's something that's really important to the three of us every week that we get this moment. But with our, user base growing and followers growing and being able to engage with fans like you guys, on live streams like this, especially after a great episode of a show, or even if you thought it was an okay episode of the show, that's not the point. The connection of this community and the opportunity to have, a connection to other fans and really talk about this in a way that is special and fun.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And we're coming up on our 50th episode soon. So, I can't wait for everybody to see what we do for that. But, with that said, I just say thank you so much for being a part of this and engaging with us on it. I know it's a sappy way to end this, but it's something that I'm feeling. And with that said, I promised I would put my helmet on as I sign off. So I'm going to go. I can't hear anything, so nobody make fun of me. But here we go.
Give him a minute.
Look at this guy. Here we go.
Red 3 signing off and at the ready. And may the Force be with you always.
He looks like a pirate.
And also with you.
Put those back on. I was saying you look like a pirate because it looked like an eye patch.
Oh, I didn't get the strap on. Well, it's a part of the joy.
Yes. But anyways, guys, as they have echoed already, we want to thank you guys for hanging out with us. Not only are we coming up on our 50th episode, I believe it's not next week, the week following. We actually hit our 1-year anniversary of doing this show, which is wild to think about, because not to follow on Matt's footsteps and get all sappy and stuff, but Matt and I started this off a year ago, just trying to really bring some positivity into this community and make this a better place, because there was the fan, we've talked about before, this community can be a finicky thing sometimes. So we want to do just our part to bring the joy that we get out of what we do and what we talk about all the time, even before we started this podcast, to folks listening and watching to this. So honestly, thank you guys for hanging out with us, and we really do appreciate you guys spending time with us. That being said, we are on to next week. I'm excited about it. This is the Dadalorian. This is the way.